Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. We are not a happy bunny. Why, I hear you ask. Yesterday was probably the most painful day I've ever had in my life since I injured my back at college, which is a long time ago. So something set it off. Now that was over a week ago. Yeah, because I had a bad day at the show. Well, that was over a week ago. Then it got better during the week, and then it just flared. And yesterday was everything hurt. Nothing. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk about. I couldn't get in a chair. I couldn't get out of the chair. Sitting in the chair hurt. Everything hurt, and some of that was eye-watering hurt. So it was a bad day. The painkillers did nothing. I took them a little more frequently than you're supposed to. Nothing, didn't touch it. It suddenly dawned on me, when I used to have a bad back before I went to the chiropractor, which must be 6, maybe 7 years ago, quite a long time ago anyway, I had an ice pack. In fact, it was something that you put in the freezer that's got like a gel in it, and you wrap your bottle of white wine in it, yeah, to keep it cool after you take it out of the fridge and put on your table, you know, to go with your meal. It keeps it cool. It's just a wrap, and it was a brilliant backpack, but I don't know where it is, and I can't look for it because I can't start bending down looking in kitchen cupboards and stuff like that. I don't even know if it moved house with me. I don't remember it moving house with me. I don't know. So trying to find that is a no-go at the moment. I had a thought. I thought, I'll have a nice relaxing hot bath. And then I thought, well, hang on, heat makes things swell up. Swelling up's probably not a good idea. And then I had another thought, and this is not funny, you know, this is a sign of getting old, isn't it? I thought, if I get in the bath, what if I can't get out when it's all wet and slippy? Yeah? So I thought, no, we'll leave that. Anyway, the only thing I could do was get in the chair and stay there. So that was my plan. And I watched a film, found myself a film, got all the controls sat in the chair. So fired up the sound system. I thought, let's let's watch a film. Perhaps it'll distract me. I watched Sicario. It's a good film. I've seen it before, but it's all I could find without, going mad. And that was a legal one as well because it was on the iPlayer. So I watched that, and then the rugby was on. There was a game in the afternoon, and then another game in late afternoon that followed on. They're only about half an hour apart, and I can quite honestly say that's the best 2 games of rugby I've ever seen, ever. Both games were absolutely brilliant. There was a little bit of rugby that I don't like. I forget which one it was in. You know, when somebody gets up one end and they kick it up the other end, and somebody catches it and kicks it up the other end, and somebody catches it and kicks. Come on, that is not entertainment, is it? I know you're playing to win a tournament in this case, but how many thousand people have paid an awful lot of money to watch you play rugby? Not bloody football. Excuse me. But when the game goes like that, I hate it. It's so tediously boring. But anyway, best 2 games ever. It was Scotland versus Italy in Rome, in Italy's home ground. And apparently in the Six Nations tournament, they haven't won a game there for donkey's years. And they just won at the last minute. And then the game later on, in late afternoon into early evening, was England playing Ireland, and Ireland are effectively the world champions. They're the best teams around at the moment. So England, didn't really stand much of a chance, and that's how it looked like it was going. And in the last minute, brings back memories, they kicked a drop goal, so they won by 1 point and beat Ireland. If Ireland had won that game, they'd have won the tournament because nobody could get enough points to catch them up. So yeah, 2 absolutely brilliant games. And then I went to bed because I thought probably the most comfortable position will be lying down. So I went to bed. That must have been about 7 o'clock, maybe a bit after that, not much after that anyway. And I woke up about 1 o'clock and I could not settle and I couldn't get back to sleep, so I got up. So I got up at 2:15 this morning, and I was not mobile at all. I thought, oh no, we're not going to have another day like this. So I got on and did me comments on the YouTube stuff, did that bit. And I thought, what the hell am I going to do now? And I thought, well, afternoon TV is awful. I wonder what nighttime TV is like. It's worse. It's all telly shopping. It's all adverts and shopping and stuff. It's absolute rubbish. So that wasn't very entertaining. And of course, it's going to bed at 7 o'clock. It's messed my time clock up, and Mojo's, because Mojo had his supper at 7 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock, because that's when I went to bed. And then he had his breakfast this morning at 2:15 instead of 5 o'clock when I normally get up. He's just had his lunch. It's 9:30. And I'm sort of thinking it must be lunchtime. Everything's all up the Swanee, and she'll see how today goes. But I was going to do a curry last night. I just couldn't face it. I couldn't even face standing up in the kitchen to do chopping stuff up and things like that, so it didn't get done. It will have to be done tonight though, because the chicken's on its date, so it's got to be done tonight really. Yesterday I thought, if I throw that chicken in the freezer now, then it doesn't matter when I do that curry, I can just wait. And I thought, no, we'll take a risk and think, yep, you'll be okay tomorrow. At least cooking isn't too much of a big deal because it's all at worktop height. There's no bending. Apart from getting the chicken out of the fridge, everything else I can, is at worktop height, so I should be okay cooking that tonight. But I didn't have hardly anything to eat yesterday. Literally, next to nothing. Quite a few coffees, and Saturday is normally my let's have a nice meal, like I normally have a steak or something like that. As I said, I planned to have that nice curry last night, and I'll have some wine because it's the weekend. Well, painkillers all day long, so no wine, no decent food. Really messed my day up yesterday. Not happy. So today, it's better, but there is a total de-risk going on today. Nothing. No stretching. I need to water my cymbidiums. They can wait. There's 3 of them on the floor. Yeah, I'm not getting down to pick them up. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to take any risks today. I was supposed to be repotting my Trident Maple bonsai yesterday. That didn't get done. They might not get done this year now. I may have missed my window, because if the leaves open too much and then you repot them, you can lose that flush of leaves, because you've disturbed the roots badly. My Deshojo Maple, I've got a job to lift that at the best of times. There's no way I'm getting anywhere near that to repot it while this back is even twinging, let alone bad like it is. That may have to wait another year. I may miss the window again. There's lots of things that I can't get on and do now, and it's annoying. Especially when you've got a list of things. Some of them have a time window that's quite limited, and if I miss it, then that job can't be done this year as far as the trees are concerned. So it's a bit of a pain in the proverbial, to say the least. So I've just spotted something that's alright, we'll let it go. It's one of the cymbidium blooms has got some teeth out of it. Looks like a slug may have had a nibble. Must have been a tiny one, they're only little nibbles. Oh. Everything is just uncomfortable. Just standing here is not comfortable. Not at all. It's not good. Right, back to business. Sunday chat's supposed to be about orchids, not about bad backs. The lights are heading towards the end of their time now. I've worked it out, and the natural 12-hour day, which needs to be 13 hours, minus the half-hour each end for the sun to actually get up and get a decent amount of light, is towards the end of this month. Well, it's the 10th now, so we're a third of the way through the month. So we've only got a couple more weeks to go with the lights. They didn't get turned on last night. Getting out of the chair to come and plug them in, the plugs on the floor, I might put them on tonight. The thing is, to plug them in at floor level, I can crouch. Yeah, then I'm going to need a hand to get up, aren't I? I'm reluctant to try and lift myself up on any of these shelves. They're not strong enough to... We shall see. They might end up not going on again tonight. We shall see. See how I feel by the end of the day. There's some more rugby on today, so I've got some more entertainment on the TV, which isn't too bad. There's no way there's going to ever be a game as good as those two yesterday, though. So anyway, the lights are coming to a close. Several people have said, will I use them again at the end of the growing season to extend the growing season farther into the, autumn, winter sort of thing? And the answer is, I don't know. Probably. But when they come to the close at the end, towards the end of this month, they won't go on again. But if you remember, I said that once we have finished with the lights, I'm going to reshuffle everything in here. Not with a bad back, I'm not, but providing everything's okay, my workbench behind me is going over in that corner. Now that means when I'm working on it, I'm facing a brick wall. I'm not exactly doing that very often. And the plants are more important. That's what this place is all about. And I've got plants on the dark side. And there's a lot of shelves over that back area. Well, a lot of those shelves are coming over this side, which is the brighter side. So getting more light. I can still have some shady areas. There'll still be some things over on this back area. So we're shuffling things around. And at the time that I move the shelves around, I will rethink where the plants go as far as their light requirements are concerned, because that's quite important. It's the growing season. It's important they get the right light for the growing season. So, yes, so we've got all that to come. But as I said, that will be probably end of this month, beginning of next month when we'll do all that. Yes, the trip into London on the coach next weekend, if my back is even still twinging, that's off. Not even going to get given a second thought. However, if my back improves to such a point where I'm not worried about it anymore, I might do that London trip. It'll cost a bit, yes, but it's not ridiculously expensive. I can get the coach for about 30 quid to London and back, 30 quid return. I've got to drive to where the coach leaves. That's just up the road, it's only about 4 miles, and I'll have to abandon the car somewhere. It's just, for the plants it would be best to go on Friday, but the Friday will be more expensive than that, or I only get a small time. You get cheap tickets on national coaches, but only at certain times of the day on certain journeys. And the earlier journeys on Friday, which get you into London sort of mid to late morning, which leaves you a good amount of the day, are very expensive. They don't get cheap until such time as they get into London nearer lunchtime. And then it's the same coming home. The cheap tickets to come home are like mid-afternoon, and then they stop, then they get really expensive. So if you wanted to go early in the day and come home later in the day, it's an expensive thing to do. It's still cheaper than taking your car in and trying to park. But on Sunday, the tickets are cheaper over a wider spectrum, and the journey's an hour less because you're not doing battle with the traffic. So for comfort and enjoyment, Sunday would be the best day to go. There goes the Sunday chat. I'd have to pre-record it, which is not a big deal. Not a big deal. So some thought for that, but not made up my mind yet. So that will be the coming weekend, maybe a trip to a show. So and spice exotic plants are there, so it's likely I might find some plants to buy. Burnhams will be there, but I've seen Burnhams display at shows twice in the last 2 weeks. They're not going to have much different, I don't suppose, so we shall see. We've got that to do. Nothing much else going on in here. I have got an awful lot of repotting to do, and I'm going to try and split it into, I will certainly split it into orchid types. So I'll always film an orchid type, but if there's two or three Masdevallias to do, if I repot them all at once and film it, it's a long video. And it's no different, the third one's the same as the first one. I think it would be better from a viewing point of view to film one Masdevallia, talk about Masdevallias, do the repot and put it to one side. And any other Masdevallias don't get filmed. They just get done as a job lot. So say what you think about that. But I think, you know, as I go through the repotting, like if I repot a black hair type dendrobium, I'll do that one, talk about them, you know. Repot a coelogeny, do one. I've actually got quite a few of those to do. And if I tried filming all of them in a job lot, it would be about an hour and a half because there's some big ones to do. I think Insa's waiting for me to do a coelogeny, but as I said, 2 of the big ones need doing because they're right up against the edge of the pot. They've got no room left at all. And both of those came from Burnham's, and I'm going to have a word with Arthur because both of them were potted in the middle of the pot. So one side of the pot's got nothing in it. Come on, Arthur. Push them up the back and give them room to grow. Mind you, he probably does 30 in one go. I worry about doing 3 or 4. Right, so there's plenty of repotting to do. Some of it will be kitchen time. I know people seem to like that. So some of it will be done in the kitchen, but certainly larger plants can't be because they just don't fit under that cupboard, unfortunately. Because it's also, at this place, it's actually a bigger deal in the kitchen because everything I need is just here. Just here. Don't turn. Keep facing straight. Everything I need is here, apart from perhaps some pots which might be down in the shed. So it's all got to be taken out in the kitchen. You know, media, my tray. I've got to clear all the stuff out of the way in the kitchen because that counter's got stuff on it normally. So it is more of a big deal to work in the kitchen, but it doesn't happen that often, so yeah, it's worth doing. What else is going on out here? Feeding and watering. I got the low nitrogen feed, which I showed you. I'd have showed you that last Sunday, in fact, because I bought that at the show on Saturday. It's nothing flashy or anything, it's just a low nitrogen feed. It's called Bloom. Forget the name, it's not going to magically get plants to bloom that have never bloomed before. It's not going to do anything remotely like that. But what it does do is it's a low nitrogen feed, so when plants are producing spikes and buds, it encourages those to grow strong and compact. So instead of being long and wispy, they're shorter, blooms are possibly closer together and probably brighter coloured and possibly a bit larger than they might have been otherwise. That's the difference between using a balanced feed at that time and using a low nitrogen feed. So that's what it's for. So when I watered all my pots back in the week, while I could still move, everything was getting a flush, but I mixed up some of that low nitrogen feed. It was about 220 parts per million because somebody will always ask. And basically kept that to one side. So as I picked up the pots, I thought, are you having a flush or are you having a low nitrogen feed because you've got buds or spikes? So I had 2 lots of water on the go, and if I'm going to use that and see if it does any good and it makes any difference, then I need to do it. There's no good talking about it. So I will have to have 2 lots on the go, depending on what I'm watering. Like now, if I do the cooler, shadier set, there's nothing growing spikes or buds in that set at the moment. Now, I say that, but then there are a couple of spikes coming on the Masdevallias, but those spikes are already there, and on those plants, those blooms are fine. They're a bright colour, you know, so is it worth running a separate lot of feed for a couple of plants? So maybe not. But in the big run, the main run for all the other pots apart from that little set, I think it's worth doing. And we'll see if it makes any difference. It will be difficult to tell, but you know, I got a reasonable memory about what, you know, blooms looked like the time before, how big spikes were, and all that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. So it's a bit of a faff, but it can be done. The only thing is the number of plants that would get watered with the low nitrogen feed is relatively low compared with everything else. So I can't have how I normally water. I've got my feed in one of those bowls, the clangy ones, and I pour some of that in the other one and use that on a couple of pots until it's almost gone, and then I get a bit more of the feed. So I've got 2 bowls on the go. Well, to water like that with 2 lots of feed, I'd need 4. I haven't got room. So the low nitrogen feed will just get used, yeah? So it'll get reused through the pots as it goes. And so be it. You know, I mean, I know people that mix up a tank of food and water all their orchids in the same thing. You know, they just pour water through, next one, pour water through, and the runoff goes straight back in there. It doesn't go into a separate one, otherwise it'd run out pretty quick. Some people pour the water through and let the runoff go into a separate one, and possibly use that on the garden or, you know, somewhere else. When you're using RO water, there is a cost involved with RO water because of the waste. Now I've tuned my RO unit by changing the regulator, so it means the RO water I get is not as pure as it could be for that unit, but it's not a difference that I'm prepared to worry about, because I've reduced the waste from about 4 to 1 to about 2.5 to 1. So 2.5 waste to 1 good lot of water coming out, which isn't so bad. It's just basically adjusted the regulator. That cost a £5 for a new one. So you have to do a bit of research to find out what the effect of changing it was and which way to go. Did I want a bigger number or a smaller number? In other words, did I want to restrict it more or let it through faster? Obviously let it through faster, it doesn't filter as much. So instead of my RO water being about 7 or 8, it comes out about 10 or 11 parts per million. It's negligible. So I don't worry about that now. The old bells are clanging well today. In case people don't know what the flipping time is, you've got to watch. Why do we all have to listen to that? I find it quite a pleasant sound actually. Out of all the noises that I get when I'm trying to film, I can put up with that. I can put up with birds singing, most of them, not pigeons. So there we go. Let's just chat about the watering and the feeding, and a change. You know, it's a change. So we talk about changes and the whys and the wherefores. We've had a chat about the lights, and rearranging the whole grow room will take place when I've finished with the lights. And I'm pretty confident that I'll use a weekend when Hannah's down, because the help will be appreciated. Yeah, and the next time she's down, we won't be doing that. Mind you, that's the 6th, isn't it? 6th and 7th she's down. The 7th would be a good day to do it, 7th of April, so the beginning of the, getting into the growing season proper. She won't be down probably for 3 or 4 weeks after that. Well, it'll be May by then, so we might have to do it on that Sunday. But the Saturday is the Mathers trip, the trip to Mathers, which we're both going on, so we won't be shuffling stuff around that day. I've arranged to pick Lynn up on the way, because it literally is on the way. You've got the motorway runs along like that, and there's a little loop road comes off and runs parallel and then goes back onto the motorway, and Lynn lives on that road. So, so it's like 10 minutes out of my way, if that. So we're going to pick Lynn up on the way, save her. Well, it saves driving, and it also saves taking a separate car for, for one person. So that's worth doing. We've got a nice pub lunch. We're all meeting up at the pub. The person who's organising it needs to get a bit of a move on with that, actually, because we've got to distribute the menus, so the menus have got to be got from the pub in a form that can be emailed round to everybody, so that people can select what they want, and we can let the pub know in advance. There's 20 people turning up. You can't just all pile in the door at 12 o'clock and demand food with menaces. So by letting them know what we've ordered in advance, they can have most of it ready for us when we walk in the door at 12 o'clock. Benny tours. I started the music off again. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. And lots of people have said about filming. I'm not filming Jim's tour. First of all, I don't think it's very fair. It is a private enterprise that we're going to. It's not a commercial nursery. It's not like, see, at Burnham's, I'm quite happy to film. They're happy for me to film. It's like free advertising. But this place is a different thing. It's not open to the public. It's only open by special invitation, basically. And it is a private enterprise, so I don't think it's very fair. And quite honestly, if you get onto YouTube and search for Jim Durrant Orchids, you'll find the videos that he's done anyway, and you can have the tour. It's already been done on a video by the man himself. So, but the videos were made when he was working at McBean's, not at the Mathers Foundation. Because effectively he retired from McBean's, but then he got poached out of retirement by David Mathers. So he's back doing what he loves doing. So that's good stuff. So that's that coming up. And we'll have a think about the London show, the coach trip. See, to do it on the Sunday would be quite a pleasant day. I'd have a reasonable amount of time at the show to leisurely look round, but you'd have to bear in mind the orchid enthusiasts would have turned up on Friday and most of the good plants would be gone. I'd be looking at what's left, basically. So we shall see. Right, we've got to get back to routines. And we decided that we would do a spotlight video on the end of the Sunday chat. Well, this isn't a spotlight, it's more of a continuation, but it's something that I've been asked about before and I've never demonstrated. So we've got a little demonstration coming up. Carefully. Let's put my coffee down. Back in the week, we had a look at this Phalaenopsis in bloom, and it was covered in mealybugs, and we had a close-up look at the mealybugs and a chat about them, and then I took it outside and sprayed it. For those who are relatively new, Phalaenopsis orchids in a clear pot work wonders. They seem to do well in clear pots. Not all orchids do, but these do. The reason is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. They just do. But what I'm showing you there is the colour of the roots. They are pale. They're a whitish grey colour. Sometimes, when they're in this state, they can be a silvery colour. That means they're dry. When you water them, they go green. And they're wet, and the media gets wet. If you look behind my finger there, you can see some that are still a bit green. That's because they're nearer the middle of the pot. So the middle of this pot is still wet. The outside of the pot where most of the active roots are is not wet. This needs watering. Yeah? If it doesn't get done today and it doesn't get done tomorrow, it won't be the end of the world. Not for a Phalaenopsis. But never let them stay dry long enough that, that the leaves go all limp, because sometimes they won't plump up again. Now, I've just had a look, and down in there, you can possibly still see some mealybugs. So there are still some alive on here, so it needs another spray. We haven't got rid of them yet, and they're down in the leaf joints. That's one of their favourite places. Those that I'm looking at now may well be dead. But what I'd like to show you is, let me find a suitable bloom. This is difficult because they wobble around something wicked. There, if you look at this bloom, the blooms are going over now. There's only one left that's in a good state. That's not because they were sprayed, it's because they'd come to their time. They were starting to go over before. If you look at that, I won't be able to get too close, and hopefully it will stay in focus. On that bloom, this one, you should be able to see a black mealybug. That's a dead one. They lose their white coating when they die, and they just look black. Now the reason I've got this out is this is a branching Phalaenopsis spike. As you can see, it branches naturally. Now you can try this with any Phalaenopsis spike, but a lot of them won't respond. And the idea is you come back from the branches and you'll find the nodes that didn't branch. Yeah? And there's 3 good ones there that are swollen. And I'm going to take that off there. And it will fall on the floor because I haven't got a spare hand to catch it. Right, now next time I've got some of that low nitrogen feed, this plant will get included in it to try and induce this spike to shoot out again. Sometimes they do. If you try this, don't cut too close to the node, because sometimes it will die back a bit and it will take the node out. So a centimetre and a bit, half an inch in old money, something like that. Stay away from the node, don't get too close. And sometimes they will shoot out and you get more blooms. Sometimes, not always. A lot of it will depend on the strength and health of the plant, whether it's still got enough oomph in there to have another go. So I just wanted to show that, because I don't think I've ever cut a spike before with a plan to try and get it to branch. And obviously if these nodes do shoot out, we'll come back and have a look. And if they stay like that for long enough and I get fed up with looking at that spike, I should take it off anyway. Extending a spike, new blooms, and then possibly do it again. Extend new blooms, you're draining the plant, because while it's in bloom, a lot of Phalaenopsis won't grow another leaf, so they won't expand their vegetative parts, and sometimes the roots go on hold as well, because it's blooming, it's doing the blooming thing. It comes back into vegetative growth after it's bloomed under normal circumstances. So if you try and keep it blooming for too long, you can weaken the plant quite badly. So there comes a point where you need to take the spike off and give it a rest from blooming and get it to grow and produce some more roots and branch some of the ones it's already got. And while it's doing that, it's a good time to repot as well. So there we go. We will try and get that to branch out. Now I'm not, even though there's some mealybugs in those leaf joints, I'm not going to spray it again because it's too close to the previous spray. I think it says, I think that one that I used is 12 days, something like that. It might be 14, could be 10. I'll have to read it, won't I? Blimey, did you hear that right? A man reading instructions? Unheard of. Oh, I know what I meant to tell you. I joined in the UK sheep census. I fell asleep halfway through. Tickled me anyway. And the other one that tickled me is I've bought a small zoo, and I've also bought a pirate ship, but not both at once. I can't afford that much Lego. You can tell I've been sat watching stuff, can't you? Anyway, that'll do for today. A little Phalaenopsis bit on the end, and tomorrow is my day off. I was hoping to do something out in the garden video wise, and some bonsai stuff. It's probably just going on hold. In fact, it's more than likely going to go on hold, because even if I feel a lot better tomorrow, if I start doing stuff again and bending and twisting, I'll fire it off again, won't I? So now I've got a thought now. When my back used to get bad, I had a gel, pain-killing gel that you rub on and it soaks in. It's quite strong and it works it did used to work quite well. There is a chemist open today on Sunday in the high street, but it means getting in the car, driving, trying to find somewhere to park, getting out of the car, getting back in it and coming back and getting out of the car. And although it would be nice to have that stuff, I'm not sure I can do the in and out the car thing. I certainly won't be able to do it comfortably, and it's whether I get enough benefit from it to actually do it or not. Every time I do something that hurts, I'm delaying the healing. The pain is there to tell you to stop doing it. It's not there so that you can go, oh, that didn't hurt quite as much, or that hurt a bit more. Yeah, it's not there for that. It's there to tell you to stop doing something, because you're doing damage. So I need to do nothing that aggravates it in any shape or form. And I just hope I can do that tea tonight and get that curry done. I mean, it's chicken breasts, big chunky ones, 6, so loads of meat, big chunky meat, onions obviously, and I chop up potatoes, chunky potatoes to go in as well. They get pre-boiled but not right up to cooked as I would if I was going to eat them like that. Nearly cooked, I'll call it. The chicken gets cooked separate so that I can brown it and cook it most of the way through. Onions get fried separately, and then I've got the sauces, and I add in some frozen peas, sweet corn and chopped up green beans so that there's some vegetables in there and it helps bulk it up a bit. And the total cost of the ingredients is about £8, and I will get at least 6 portions out of that, probably 7, and that's home cooked. And the other portions will go in the freezer. They're ready in 10 minutes in the microwave. Because all they've got to do is thaw out and heat up. And it takes 10 minutes to cook the rice. This is good stuff. I cook a fair few things like that. Somebody's going to say, oh, why don't you film it? I'll have enough trouble doing it if I can. Let alone worrying about turning round and facing the camera and twisting. It's twisting, turning and bending's got to be avoided at all costs. We got to do the robot thing. We've got to do everything like that. So, and that's how it'll have to be until this is a hell of a lot better than it is. And we'll see how we get on. But as I say, I don't want another day like yesterday, I really don't. And see, now tomorrow, if my back was a bit better, I could go and get that cream tomorrow, but tomorrow's market day. You can't even drive into the high street tomorrow. You've got to go round because it's closed for market day. So we won't be doing that. I will look into, I could get possibly a home shop delivered. I doubt if I could get that for tomorrow. There wouldn't be any slots free. Otherwise I could get some stuff delivered and just have that as part of the delivery. I'll think about it, but I'd rather it got better on its own, but I'm fighting it at the moment. So the channels. I haven't really changed anything on the Bonsai and Gardening channel, well, Gardening and Bonsai channel, Roger's Garden and Bonsai, apart from merging them together. And I have posted a couple of videos in both categories on that merged channel. They don't do brilliantly compared with this one, I never expect them to, but they have done quite a bit better than when they were in separate channels, so that's good. This channel, it's working, the changes are working. Most of the videos are now getting quite a few more views than they used to. Depends on the type of video, obviously. The one I did on the Phalaenopsis absolutely rocketed. That just shot up. Well, it's got the word Phalaenopsis in it, hasn't it? Guess what's going to go in the title of this one? But yeah, the titles and the thumbnails have made a difference. It's good stuff. And obviously your good selves actually watching the videos, doing the thumbs up, and my rate of subscribers is growing quite substantially at a reasonable rate. Now when the subscriber numbers grow at this stage of a channel, they must be new people, or people that I've just bullied like I have now into getting to subscribe because they haven't done for the last 5 years. I'll find you. I know who you are. What's the expression? I have a certain set of skills. But yeah, you know, if you're not subscribed, it would be nice. And don't forget the thumbs up, it helps, it really does. And this is the time to remind people, if you've made it to the end of the video, you can't not like it. You know, what sort of numbskull actually watches a 30+ minute video that they don't like? So if you've made it this far, I'll assume you liked it. Hit that thumbs up, please, it makes a difference. And as do the comments, so yeah, it's good stuff. This channel is progressing as well as can be expected, and at least as good as I was hoping, so I'm well pleased. Let's keep it up, that's the thing, it's keeping up that growth rate, otherwise YouTube will forget us and we'll just fade into the distance. We don't want none of that. So I will see you next time. Next time will be Tuesday for something, because it's day off day tomorrow. And I don't know what it'll be. I have no idea what I'll be filming next week. But there will be at least one repot, I'm sure, because I'm going to have to keep pace with those now. I've got my bark, got that at the show. So I've got my materials. So perhaps we'll get on and do some potting. But again, potting is leaning. You know, it's leaning over, it's a partial bend to actually do it. I could do it bolt upright, I suppose, so I will manage. I will get some repotting done and we'll see where we go from there. Apart from that, yet again, thanks for dropping by. It's good to see you on the Sunday, and see you next time. Bye for now.